we've got a trial to get into, right?
Yes.
Hey, Joe has witnesses and everything.
All right. Well, first I'll explain to everybody what this trial is all about.
Right. So this trial basically is, the plaintiff, which are fans of K100 worldwide, have been first. They started it has a little backstory. It kind of started when, I don't know, mysteriously somehow or why it would happen, but during the disco list, She's a Lady would get played. I remember that.
I remember that well. Yeah.
Yeah. We're never really able to get to the bottom of that. But now something else has been happening where the sound effects, I'm getting booed when you're being announced a sound of like crickets chirping, okay? And then Joe's being put over with applause.
Right.
Okay? Now, he says he has nothing to do with this.
This is a short trial.
The plaintiffs, this is a class action suit, okay? And the defendant is Joe Feeney III, who's a member of the ultra-right and NAMBLA-affiliated hate group Get My Go.
Oh.
And also for a while was known on Chatterbait as Philly Twink Boy. He is the defendant. The prosecutor, who has not lost any cases and is brilliant, just brilliant job, it was one Glenn Gilberti. The judge is known as being as fair but firm.
Right.
Conan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who gets the first opening statement? Is that the prosecution? The prosecution does, of course.
It's pretty cut and dry. Yeah. Pretty cut and dry.
Let's go.
You disavowed knowledge of having anything to do with it. This is pretty clear. Every week, how does the production of this show take place? Okay.
Well, I can't respond anyway. Go ahead.
This is cross-examination.
What do you mean you can't respond?
Oh, I thought it was your opening statement. It's cross-examination. Okay. Yeah, I take all the clips from the show. I put them together. I add in the sound effects normally, and yeah, it's all on my shoulders. I understand.
Does Conan do that?
No.
Do I do that?
You do not do that. No.
Does he usually do that?
Nope.
Okay, who's the only person that does that with the clips from our show?
I'm the producer, the sole producer.
Right, and you're also the editor, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you, by your own admission, since I can't be doing that and Conan can't be doing that, and you're the only one that does that, how could you disavow knowledge that you're the one that's putting these edits in and making us look bad and making you look good?
I would disavow it because I would just say, look at my history with the show. I've never been disrespectful of
but the
yourself
evidence
or Conan.
Your history is not in question here. The evidence is in question. Okay, and the evidence is very clear that you're the editor.
Yes.
Okay, so is anybody hacking your computer? Is there any evidence of hacking?
There's no evidence per se of hacking, but I would suggest that much like the She's a Lady
What's your explanation of what happened?
I believe that there's someone on the Spreaker side of things that is taking my edit of the show and scrambling it for their own personal enjoyment and amusement. So I set it up.
Yeah, so you are, wait. So they are hacking the file.
I believe the file is being hacked, yeah. I will take no blame for this.
By Spreaker?
Someone on the Spreaker side.
Do you have any evidence to support that?
Just conjecture, unfortunately.
All right.
I would. That's why I would say base it.
I sent you a piece of evidence.
Yes.
Okay, to your Twitter, Joe.
My Twitter.
Okay, yes, to your Twitter inbox. There's a piece of evidence in there. I want you to play this evidence.
Okay.
Okay. This evidence was given to me today.
Oh.
Recently. Okay. Right before this trial went to court here. But this evidence is. I've been told.
This is one. This just so you know, this is evidence from a guy known as Jaquil George, also known as J. George.
Oh,
okay.
I can't believe J. George turned against me.
Please play this.
All right, so what do you got?
Okay.
You got it, Joe?
Yep.
Let's play it.
Okay.
Evidence Exhibit A.
Yeah, there's a video too. Hang on.
All right.
This dirty dog. I can't believe he did that. Let's see.
I'm going to ask you this one more time.
Look, I'll take the electrocute to the nuts. I'll take the bull rope. Just please don't make me listen to Get My Go again. Even worse, don't make me watch the video version, please. Anything but that. Take my life. Just don't make me do that, please.
One more time. Who put up the intro on the show?
It was Joe.
Oh.
This whole time, it was Josephine III. He was messing with the audio. Alright? Is that what you want? It was Joe Feeney. Joe Feeney III. He was the one that was messing with the audio. He told me he wanted to get back at Conan for for all the years of being called Twink Boy and the constant burials. And he told me if I didn't keep my mouth shut, that I'd be blacklisted from keeping it 100. I would never be allowed to appear again. Just please don't hurt me, please. I gave you what you wanted.
Wait a minute. Like, that's clearly under
that's
duress.
very damning evidence. I can't believe you.
Joe, do you have any? Let me ask you a question. That was very clear, damning evidence from a reliable witness.
Yeah.
Okay, an honest witness that came in here under duress.
Yes.
Okay, to testify, and he pointed at you, and he actually brought it with a clear motive.
There's a motive.
That you're getting back at Conan for the years of calling you the Philly Twink Boy. This is very clear from a star witness and a guest and a friend of the show that has never been had any. I mean,
have you no shame, Joe? Have you no shame what you did to this guy? Look at that, bro. That was
well, what he did to you.
Yeah, well, both of us.
You're basically
poor Jaquil George. I mean, the guy's crying. He looked like advanced interrogation tactics.
Yeah.
He'd rather have that used on him than not be on the show or have to watch the video or audio version of your show.
Look,
what do you
have
say
you
about
no shame?
The motive.
The motive, unfortunately for my side of things, the motive does make sense, but I still maintain.
No, by your own admission.
Yeah.
That evidence is like the Rittenhouse trial.
Yeah, except
you're agreeing with the prosecution.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm an inexperienced defender. I probably should have had someone represent me. But clearly, for those that didn't see the video clip,
could Raven represent you?
I could have had Raven represent me.
Buccini. Who's that guy's name?
You had
Rich
some
Buccini.
witnesses.
Yeah, I do have witnesses. But let me just say.
Yeah, well, let's okay. The defense, the prosecution rests.
The prosecution.
Okay, you rest your case.
There's nothing. I said it's going to be short. It's going to be short. Pretty concise, pretty clear. Joe, you can mount your defense.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to defend this.
Well, I would, like I said, defend based off my stellar reputation in the podcasting game, and I've had the opportunity through this show to make some powerful friends in the wrestling business, and some of them are going to rush to my defense.
Sounds like Get My Go pressured Jay George.
Well,
and intimidated him. It absolutely sounded like that.
The camera.
Jay George, you were making Jay George watch Get My Go with audio.
I don't know who's behind that.
He was making Jay George watch Get My Go with audio.
That's a whole nother case. I don't know who's behind that.
With camera, so it's like that's
with video.
It looked to me.
Yeah, watch with video. So it's hard. Who would wish that on anybody? That's terrible.
It looked to me like Jay George was beaten, and this confession of his supposed confession was totally coerced. I mean, he would have said anything under those conditions. But I do have
I'm very close to charging you for contempt.
Okay, what do you got, Joe? If you got a defense, let's hear it. You don't really sound like you have anything credible that could refute the damning evidence that we've seen.
I have a few.
You came in with a home run, Glenn.
It's difficult. It's going to be tough to come back from. But I have a few associates and mentors, even if you will, that are going to come to my defense right now. So this is the first.
All right, so is Joe Gortner here?
This is the first one.
I think it's about time that JoJo was put on trial for the atrocities that he's been committing.
Wait a minute.
On K100. Not only has he been using the wah, wah, wah sound for Conan, one of the biggest stars of his generation, the Hulk Hogan of Mexico in 1993, the man who was more over than the Easter Bunny on his day, and you dare to do a wah, wah, wah sound instead of a huge, exciting explosion of applause. But on top of that,
wait, this is not what I expected. We don't need to play the rest of this one. If I mean, this is clearly.
Well, let him finish. You're going to cut off Chris Jericho, the guy that guided you on his show.
Yes.
Would he cut you off?
No, he wouldn't.
That's kind of disrespectful right there.
How can you cut off the witness?
Contempt.
That is contempt.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to object to what the witness is saying. If you can file an objection, but Coney can overrule the objection.
Yeah.
You have to continue to play what he was saying.
I'll let him finish because maybe it'll turn around.
You appeared on Talk is Jericho while vaping. That's right, JoJo Feeney. I saw you vaping. You might have even been eating as well. So unprofessional going on Talk is Jericho with accoutrement. Should put you on trial for that alone. And also for allowing yourself to be called JoJo. The only time you ever want to be called JoJo is when the line afterward was a man who thought he was a loner. JoJo was a man who thought he was a woman. You got me so pissed off, I can't remember the words for the Beatles' best tune, Get Back. So you're on trial for that too, JoJo.
Wow.
JoJo Starbuck. So yeah, so angry about this, but you being on trial almost makes me want to apologize to Disco. So Disco, forget it.
Oh.
You should both be on trial for being stupid, dumb morons. I'm Ghost.
Now
Jericho's great.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't think that helped your case.
No, I don't know
Joe.
what happened there.
There's a hostile witness that took a cheap shot at me for no reason whatsoever. But you could apologize.
I thought I had.
But but the evidence is very clear and damning there. But that was your witness, Joe. This is like a Rittenhouse trial. The prosecution
you don't even vet
this.
Witnesses. You don't even vet your own witnesses.
I trusted Chris to come across and have my back, but I didn't realize. All right, well, I have another one here. This guy
I hope it's as good as this one because I mean he really put you over. It really helped you a lot.
This guy is sure to put me over and help out my case.
Give the name, please.
He's former Juicy Seal Representative Frankie Kazarian, and there's no doubt in my mind from our working relationship that he's going to have something nice to say and hopefully have my back.
I don't understand why there's even a trial here. Jojo Feeney is the producer of the show. He edits the show. He's obviously guilty.
Oh.
He's lucky that Conan and Disco are even giving him the luxury of a trial. If this would have happened back in the day and you were one of the boys in a locker room, which you are most certainly not one of the boys, you would have been sent to the ring to wrestle somebody that would stretch you and that would beat the out of you. And you'd have to buy the boys a case of beer or whatever they wanted, and you wouldn't be able to change in the locker room for up to 6 months. So be lucky that maybe all you'll get is just a slap on the wrist, you stupid-ass, silly-ass, crooked-ass mark.
Wow.
I don't understand why there's even a trial here.
That was shocking. I was shocking, but
what the hell?
It's another witness for you're presenting these witnesses.
This is awful.
And they're turning into witnesses for the prosecution.
This is horrible. This is Rittenhouse.
Do you have any more witnesses, Joe? Because you literally have not mounted a case in your defense yet.
Hopefully, this next one.
But I did like Frankie. That's true. Back in the day, that would have happened to you. But continue.
They would in your bag too.
Yeah,
probably. I think that this also proves that Frankie may or may not have been behind.
Shaved your eyebrows.
Frankie may or may not have been behind the vicious assault on me at AEW featuring Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Now I'm accusing Frankie of that. But I have it. All right, I have another witness.
First of all, you can't ask for a new trial in the middle of the trial that we're doing right now. All right, that's a completely different legal issue.
This should be I request a mistrial. This should be a mistrial. These guys are coming out against me.
Order in the court.
Do you have any more?
Order in the court.
Yeah, this is a former world champion, and there's another acquaintance from the Juicy Seal, Nick Aldis. You know, we've promoted his brand and everything on the show. He's a great guy. I'm sure that he's going to come to my defense.
This a guy that you tricked thinking Mike Durbin was a special needs kid?
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not going to hold that against me.
This is the national treasure, Nick Aldis. Now, I've been asked to weigh in on a rather important matter, the trial of Joe Feeney. So I'm going to take a moment to tell you a little story. I was sitting at my computer one day, handling some business for LegacySups.com, the new wellness collection available now, including superfood organic greens at LegacySups.com. Use code K100 for 10% off your entire order.
That's tremendous.
And I was doing what I often do when I'm handling my entrepreneurial endeavors, which is listen to keeping it 100. But on this particular occasion, I was rather disturbed to hear what I considered to be a rather dishonest piece of editing by Joe. You see, he's giving the introductions, and he mentions Conan's name and Glenn's name and his own, and put some rather troubling sound effects to accompany each person's name. And what occurred to me was that Conan was clearly unaware of this, and Glenn was unaware of this. Conan's very busy being the all-knowing wise man of AAA and always involved in so many different endeavors in the wrestling business. Glenn is busy arguing with other mentally ill people on Twitter. And I thought, this is a really dishonest way of producing on Joe's part. And for that alone, I would personally like to see him go down for a very long time. And yes, Joe, if you think I'm turning on you, you're right, I am, because you turned on me in my trial, which was a complete kangaroo court, a complete farce. So guess what, pal? You've made a very powerful enemy.
This is not turning out well at all. I don't understand.
You know what? I'm surprised that you would use Nick Aldis because of you.
Exactly what he said.
He's on probation. He's on K100 probation.
He thinks
he's never on here again. And you thought he'd be a good witness?
I thought under oath that he would, yes, provide the truth, but clearly he's holding a grudge.
Well, you didn't have any witnesses support your claims.
I thought he was going to be an honest man.
The evidence pointed to you doing that as being the only one that can do that. Circumstantial evidence is very clear. You haven't provided any evidence that Spreaker was involved in hacking the show and post editing that and changing the edits.
Well, I have one more.
You got one more?
I have one more that I believe.
Argument?
Yeah. This will be my star witness.
Okay.
Hey there, man. It's Mike Durban from The Mike Durban Show, which is on the Creative Control Network and Joe's co-host on Get My Go. I think Joe is innocent of the charges against him, and here's a few reasons why. Number 2, have you guys ever seen the computer Joe edits and produces from? It's like a 2008 Compaq laptop with little cat stickers all around the screen.
That's true.
Even if he wanted to, I highly doubt that piece of junk computer could accomplish what you're accusing him of. And number 1, look, while Joe is probably the hardest working podcast producer in the game right now, we all know he can get a little bit lazy from time to time. I highly doubt that he would take the extra effort each week to add in those sound effects you've been accusing him of adding. Conan, just last week you asked him if he still adds the Mr. Postman song before the mailbag each week, to which he answered no, with no explanation. Laziness. And furthermore, any extra time he would have to spend doing that is time taken away from his other productive endeavors, like reading a Jim Morrison book for the 17th time, or riding that bike that he bought at the start of the lockdown last year. In conclusion, while I think it'd be hilarious if Joe was found guilty and let's say you guys suspended him for a few weeks and you had to get Hughesley to fill in, I firmly believe that Joseph Feeney III is innocent of all charges.
And that's a guy I work with on a regular basis. So
this is from Mike Durbin, a guy who once thought he was going to have a three-way, but his left hand fell asleep. Let me tell you this. This for the background music, for the cat stickers on the computer. Okay,
that's fair.
He's another guy of ill repute.
Yeah.
This pretty much was an open and shut case, like I said it was. We just went through the formalities and we gave you the luxury because this is a democracy and we have to go through these things. You're guilty, 1,000%. You got mega heat with me. You got mega heat with DI. Sentencing will be next week. We will decide what it will be, and you will take it, and you will like it.
Sounds fair.
Not turned out well.
Sounds like an honest decision.
Does prosecution have any complaints or anything that they want to say?
I just want to point out something that Durbin did say is that when Joe took the Mr. Postman edit out,
right.
His excuse was, do you remember what the excuse was?
Yeah, it had run its course.
Had run its course.
Right.
He just determined it had run its course.
Right.
Okay, so Joe was
later
really,
on
without instruction.
Right.
Without instruction by his own admission, by your star witness, by your own admission, taking things out of the show and adding things to the show without any permission whatsoever. By your own admission, you said you had decided it had run its course with no. Did you Cody? Did he consultate with you or I?
No.
No. He just decided that it ran its course, which is why I think the evidence is very clear that because you were angry at Conan and me for burying Get My Go, and because he called you JoJo the Philly Twink Boy for years, that based on the evidence from witness testimony that you have a clear motive. That because you're getting back at Conan for doing that you tried to intentionally bury me and Conan with the edits on the show. I think you just need to admit it.
I admit nothing, and I think there's an assumption that I'm a lot more vindictive than I am. I'm not a vindictive person. There's no way I would go out of my way to insult you guys or bury the show.
He's not vindictive. They just talk about a show that hasn't been on the air. That's not on the air anymore. They still talk about them.
Right.
But anyways, here's
next week is sentencing.
Yeah.
Next week is sentencing. You will take it and you will like it. If the listeners want to send some ideas via tweet to me and DI, we're all ears. And no, Hughesley will not be hosting this show.
We're waiving the suggestions because what we're doing is for this trial.
This is on behalf of you. Yeah.
For the fans, we're wondering what you think fair punishment should be, you know?
There's been a lot of Twitter talk about it. There's been a lot of people against me. There's been some in my corner, but not too many.
I think you should put up the verdict is guilty, Joe. So they know. Oh, and here's the other thing. Can you find the opening, the intro from November 1st? That was an intro by Jay George because I think there's another thing there that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
The one with Jay George on the intro.
Okay, let me see.
9 of Keeping It 100 with Conan. There you go. The mighty, mighty D.I.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
And JoJo, the Philly entrepreneur. You're guilty like a motherfucker.
I've never even heard that before. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, brutal. First of all, this is the evidence is very.
Where's the Jay George thing?
What do we got here?
This is an intro by Jay George, and I'm just remembering he said something in there that also makes him guilty.
Could be evidence. Interesting.
Welcome to Keeping It 100 with Conan. Millions and millions of downloads and pound after pound of Iranian tobacco later, we are now chopping it up on Spreaker. Hi, I'm professional wrestler and filmmaker Jay George. You may have remembered me from my appearances on the Disco List, as well as my work in independent wrestling. As part of my community service, it is a huge honor to be this week's MC. To see for yourself why I'm Conan's favorite wrestler of the modern era, feel free to follow me on Twitter at JGeorgeTheMovie.
Hey, why was that left in there?
On Instagram at...
Leaving in the Jay George the movie?
I'm Conan's favorite wrestler of the modern era. Why would that be left in there?
Oh, I mean, I didn't script that. There's a portion of the.
I doubt that very highly, and you could have edited it out there because you know that not to be true. Okay.
I allow space for improvisation in the intro, and Jay, I'm going to proclaim him guilty for taking that upon himself to say, since he turned on me.
Well, sensing either way, sensing next week, be prepared.
Big trouble.
And I hope that this guy K100 Vengeance, or what's the guy that...
The Vigilante.
The Vigilante. I wonder if he's in cahoots or friends with the Illumination.
I think somebody, whether it was the Illumination or the Vigilante, got to Chris Jericho, Frankie Kazarian, and Nick Aldis, and somehow managed to make them change their testimony against me. That's what I think.
Well, the K100 hex is real. If you...
There's no evidence supporting that.
Throw shade on us, you're going to get karma.
Nope. Yeah, you're saying things that there's no evidence to support is your problem.
Well, I'll enjoy my last week of freedom, and I will not be looking forward to next week's sentencing. So I'm going to make the most of my last week of free time here and freedom outside of whatever prison you guys are going to place me in.
All right. It's well-deserved, by the way.